Alright, welcome back fellow YouTubers and gas-powered bike enthusiasts. Okay, today we are going to discuss the rear wheel, how to get the most life out of your rear wheel, and maybe touch upon a few problems others have had with wheel bearings, why, and also stopping hard by slamming on the brakes, getting the tire type slapping hard. Okay, this bike was a perfect example. It has both problems that we're going to discuss in today's informative video. Alright, well, this gentleman noticed that he had a little wobble riding in the very beginning, but he kept on riding it, obviously, and now his back wheel is shot, so we're going to have to change it out. But anyway, to check your back wheel bearings, it's always a good idea to grab your wheel and see if it wiggles side to side. Now this one does a whole lot because the bearings are so bad, some of them even fell out. But it is always a good idea to just check your rear wheel. If it has any side play at all, you'll need to snug up your bearings before they get to this stage. But what mainly kills the rear wheel bearings, because the rear wheel does a lot of work. It does all the work. It's constantly getting pulled on by the engine and driving you forward. It's constantly getting pulled on by the pedals on the other side and stopping you. So, I mean, it's doing a lot of work. You don't think about it until you actually think about it, I guess. But anyway, back to the point at hand, what really kills the wheel bearings is riding at a high rate of speed. The bikes are kind of designed basically to go 10 to 13 miles an hour as a cruising speed. Yes, the engine kits take the bikes faster than the bicycles are designed to go, so you have to use a little common sense as a rider to keep it around 10 to 13 miles an hour. With all the high-tech equipment we have nowadays, you can find out what that speed is with the GPS on your phone. They sell GPS speedometers. They even still sell the old school manual ones. I think you can even pick them up at Walmart, any stores like that, or online or whatnot. But speedometers are not unattainable, and they do help you out. All right, well, anyway, this one has been ridden at a high rate of speed for a long period of time. Like I said, the bikes aren't designed to do that, so obviously it ate the wheel bearings out until she wouldn't move anymore. As you can see, if I can get out of the light, a little wheel bearing rolled down there, but you're not supposed to be able to see the inner race, and it's all wore out thin, which I can see right there. And I pretty much know it's shot. Another reason that a back wheel, rear wheel, whatever you want to refer to it, will fail is for hard stopping. Now when I say that, I mean you riding the bike, clipping along at a pretty high rate of speed, not giving it plenty of time to slow down before you get to the stop sign, intersection, whatever the case may be, and applying the brake a little hard. You have to use your common sense on that. I don't have a pressure gauge to tell you how hard, but if you have ridden and you were clipping along and you went to slow the bike down and you have a rear coaster brake bike and your pedals tried to move forward when you applied them to the back, and you could feel them try to kick forward, that means you are going a little too fast for the bicycle's design conditions. The brakes are actually trying to turn with the rear wheel. That is why your pedals are trying to go forward. Now, if you'll test that theory and then slow down at a much slower pace, your pedals won't do that because you're in the realm of the load the brakes were designed to handle. That's just a little FYI on how to gauge your speed. But anyway, so we're going to take this wheel off, and I will show you what the brake arm looks like when you try to stop too hard, because I think that is also contributed to the damage of this rear wheel. So give me a second, I will remove this wheel and we'll take a look at it. So I've removed the rear wheel. As you can see in this gap, right in there, that is where the wheel bearings used to be. All this metal shavings all over the sprocket are the wheel bearings that ground themselves to dust. Also, when I was speaking of the high speed stopping, you can tell that always by if the brake arm, get some light there, is bent right there. Because when it was going at a high rate of speed, the wheel was rotating forward. When you pedal backwards on a coaster brake bike, it works on the same principle of an S-cam of an automobile. It's more of a helix screw on a bike, but it still operates the same. These are the brake shoes. When you pedal backwards to apply the brake, the shoes open up against the hub of the bike. That is its brake drum. And when you pedal forward, they release and you ride on as per usual. Now, when you're going at a high rate of speed and you apply the brakes come out against the hub that is rotating, and the brakes are like too big a load is what they're thinking. So it tries to turn with the wheel. Well, naturally this is hook solid, so it can't turn, so it bends it, and sometimes they mangle them pretty good and get them jammed in the sprocket. This one's not as bad, but I was just showing you, that way you have an idea, and that is why hard stopping and skidding the back tire by applying the brake on your motorized bike is not a good idea. It prematurely damages your equipment. So that is pretty much it on stopping. If you can avoid abrupt stopping, other than for an accident, we don't want anybody getting in an accident, that's not what I'm saying, but normal riding, if you can avoid the abrupt stopping and applying a lot of pressure to the brake system any more than you have to, that's always a good thing for the wear and tear. As you can see, all the wheel bearings are gone. Should be ball bearings all around here. They are missing, ground to dust, and just plain old gone. I don't know if you can see it or not real well, but there is one of your little brake shoes. They are half moons, one on either side, front and back, and they are what open up when you apply the brakes on your coaster brake bike. Just a fun little tidbit fact. Alright, well, I'm going to get this wheel changed out and back installed on that bike and get that individual back rolling. So I'll get back with you here in a minute as soon as I get it installed. So being that wheel was beyond repair, had to purchase a new back wheel, change everything over. I showed everybody the bearings and the end result of the high speed and the sudden stopping. So we had to purchase a new wheel, change everything over. So now we got the aluminum hub mount reassembled, sprockets mounted and torqued. So now you can look in there and see that you don't see any bearings. You see just the dust cap that you're supposed to see. It's supposed to stay still. It is important to reinstall your dust cap on your coaster brake bikes. It is not only a dust cap, but it keeps the wheel bearing grease in your wheel bearings, so they also don't prematurely wear out. If you're building your own bike, a lot of the times the sprocket is not machined or cut out enough to go over the dust cover without squeezing it against the rim, and then it turns with it and eats itself up. So it has to have plenty of clearance to move freely the sprocket around the bearing cap. just like that one. Also, as we'll notice, if we can look down in there, get a little light on the subject if I can, you'll notice that this has just its natural curve now over to the frame and not bent right by the axle with that bowed twist that was in the old one. That is how it's supposed to look. Alright, so now if I can get everybody out there to slow down just a little bit, it will prolong the life of your rear wheel bearings, chain, etc. The easier you take care of your equipment, the longer it will last. Just like a car, truck, motorcycle, doesn't matter. If you go out and you thrash it and ride it hard as you can, you're going to be spending money on repairs and have breakdowns. Also, now that we have the new wheel on, check it for play, move it side to side. As you can see, this one doesn't have it anymore because all the bearings are new and greased. But I just thought I would show you what your end result should look like. No wiggling at all. That is basically just the bike wiggling for me wiggling the wheel. Okay, well, I hope this little bit of common sense helps some folks out if you've had this problem in the past with your wheel bearings and you couldn't figure out, my God, why do I keep going through back wheels? Well, the long and short of it is just high speeds. Slow it down a little bit, keep it around 10 to 13 miles an hour. That will prolong your equipment. Don't have to have breakdowns, do a bunch of repairs all the time. And that's the way motorized bikes are meant to be ridden in general. Okay, well, stay tuned for my next video. We're going to talk a little bit about caliper brakes. Alright, take care. Like and subscribe. That way you get all the newest videos and helpful hints that maybe help you out with your problems that you're having. Okay, other than that, take it easy.